hello, John, from the Evolve team. Thank you for taking the time to give us an update of your project with the Canadian Food Innovation Network and Ontario Genomics. Now that you're, what, a year and a bit into it, I think? Yeah. For anybody watching who may not know us, I'm Linda Fox, CFIN's Regional Innovation Director for Ontario. And I'm also delighted to have Elaine Corbett and Laura Riley here joining us to hear the updates from Ontario Genomics. And John, if I could ask you to maybe take a moment to introduce yourself and a little bit about the project that you're working on.
Sure. Thank you all for having us. Obviously, CFIN and Ontario Genomics have been incredible over the last year to work with. So I'm more than happy to be here today to give an update. So at Evolved, what we're trying to do is actually recreate cultivated meat that is identical to conventional meat. And what that means is we're trying to create 100% cell-based products that are identical to the whole tissue found in animals, and then actually do the muscle to meat transition that occurs post-mortem, so that the products that we end up selling will be identical to what consumers anticipate receiving and what they're getting today. In terms of our company, there's two co-founders. Myself, I actually used to work for the University of Waterloo and at their Velocity Incubator and used to manage investments for them. And I met my co-founder that way. His name's Ali Reza Shaheen, as he was finishing up his PhD and postdoctoral work at McMaster. All of the IP we've created in all of our science is based off of his incredible work.
Wonderful. So let's hop right into the project that was funded by this grant. Can you share maybe some of the, actually, I'm going to ask you two questions. If you can share some of the milestones and successes that you've achieved to date, and then if it's even possible to narrow it down to one of the coolest things that you have come across as you've been working on this, share that with us as well.
Perfect. So over the last year, lots happened, which is really exciting. The goal when we got the grant was to actually create muscle tissue that is as close to in vivo as possible using pork cells. And there were some challenges obtaining the cells at the beginning, but obviously we've been able to work through that. But in terms of the three biggest accomplishments we feel we've had this year, and I'll save the best one for last, and hopefully I can share a video. One, given that we have a fairly unique technology in that we use cell sheets, we're fundamentally different than a lot of other cultivated meat companies. We don't work on the cells, media, and bioprocess. We actually partner with companies that have those in place and then leverage our bioassembly and biofabrication technique to create products that are fibrous and whole cut. So we've had three big milestones. The first was in the manufacturing side. We wanted to ensure that not only could we produce enough cell sheets to create enough fibers to create a whole cut piece of meat, and we were able to file a bioreactor patent on a provisional bioreactor a few months ago, as well as a novel filtration system to bring the cost down. In addition to that, we've created an automation test bed, so a first of its kind robot that can actually automate the creation and handling of cell sheets, which was really interesting. Second thing we've done, and this was a big part of our work in trying to recreate tissue that mimics in vivo conditions, was understanding the proteomic profiles of the tissues in vivo, and then converging our sheets to that set of profiles. And we've created the first proteomic database of pork tissue from what we know. And on top of that, we've used that as that data as a foundational layer for our machine learning algorithm. So anytime we try to create pork or any species of tissue, we should be able to move more quickly towards getting to that final product every time we go through a cycle. So that was really exciting. And then the third one, happy to share, we've actually been able to create muscle fibers in vitro that are as close to in vivo as possible. So I'll share my screen.
Oh, yes.
If I can, to show a video here. And again, I want to reiterate, none of this would have been possible without CFIN and Ontario Genomics. I feel it's a good time to mention that. But what you're seeing here is actually a muscle fiber that was created in our biofabrication process, that was created using only single cells. It's cells and they're natural ECM. There's no exogenous biomaterials, scaffolding, or anything else added to this. This is just the cells on their own.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that looks like it's very strong.
It is very strong. We're able to actually tune the mechanical properties as needed to make it stronger, or I guess less strong as needed, so that we can recreate the proper mouthfeel that people expect for different products.
Right. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's terrific. That's the first time I got to see that as well. So I'm so glad to be part of this. We can just build on some of the things that you talked about the earlier stages of the project in this past year. What have you got coming up? What's planned for the next year?
So in the next 12 months, we're going to be having some pretty big internal demonstrations with different partners from around the world and creating whole cut products from multiple species. So we've been able to work with pork, chicken, beef, fish, all of the big, I guess, protein groups, and have validated our technique against them. But now now the rubber is going to hit the road, and we're going to make whole cut products over the next year.
Oh, it's going to be a big year. Holy cow. Oh, sorry. Pun unintended. So you were so kind as to mention that this has been enabled by the project with CFIN and with Ontario Genomics. But might I be so cheeky as to ask where you would possibly be if you didn't have that grant in place?
It's a fair question. I think when we look at the support, it's beyond just the monetary support. I mean, even just looking at this call, we've had 3 champions in our corner over the last 15 months that goes beyond just the funding. So helping pay for the science is one thing, but having the actual groups from CFIN and Ontario Genomics, like I know Laura and Elaine, we met all the time for months to always get feedback and help. I think that's been the biggest help, to be honest. The grant is incredible because it ends up leveling the playing field with other international companies, especially US-based ones that have access to programs like SBIR and some of those other grant programs. So it's great to see the Canadian ecosystem level up on the funding side and then provide the incredible community and support around that to really help companies push to the next level.
That's great to hear. We're very proud of the networks that are in place, and I'm glad to hear that you've been able to take advantage of that. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us about that I maybe haven't covered?
I think it's to ask people to be patient with us all because cultivated meat is a big dream. It's going to take time. And to get costs in check will require further innovation from everyone in the field. So I think it's really going to be a community effort. So I just hope the public isn't overpromised timelines and expectations are in line so that we can actually get the funding and keep driving the results that will eventually make the change that's needed.
It's a key point. An awful lot has happened so far, and the year that you have coming up sounds exciting, but there's still lots of work to be done. So I appreciate that. Well, thank you so much, John, to you and to Ali. I'm sorry you couldn't join us today, and to the Ontario Genomics Group. This has been a terrific update, and I can't wait to see what's next and hear about what's going on. Thank you for taking the time.
Awesome. Thank you all for having us, and thank you for the support over the last year. We're incredibly fortunate to have worked with you all.
Talk to you soon.